During my 4 years with the company, I had the pleasure of meeting many clients. Waiting for men to initiate contact is a certain way to meet the wrong kind of guy who is looking at you the wrong way, at least in my experience. This became apparent to me after having extensive conversations with numerous clients. Many of the attractive men I knew would unwind with a drink and some friends at the bar at the end of a long day. The fact that they avoided social interaction may also have contributed to their feeling of isolation. Therefore, it would be helpful to know why they avoided it. Women did not view them as sexist. I knew a lot of sleazy individuals who frequented the bar, and on occasion the women would become so upset that I had to physically remove them from the premises. They were aggressive in their pursuit of sexual partners. Nevertheless, they were chatting up the women, and I have no doubt that more than a few of the ones who took an interest in them were left heartbroken. I haven't been able to prevent it from happening, but I've seen it happen many times over the years. The good things about this situation were easy for me to identify. We are a part of a small group of guys who seem to be milling around here by ourselves. Every one of the nice guys has been eliminated. A generalization can't be made from such a small sample set. Still, that's a lot more knowledge than the average person has ever had before. If that's the case, then why bother? If a guy has caught your eye, you think he looks swell, and you think he's a good catch, it could be time for you to make some moves on him, lady. He is either an extremely hard worker or a really generous person, but in any case, he is always involved in some delightful activity. Ask him out on a date without worrying about rejection. The question of where all the good men are at the moment, and how you may get her phone number, seems especially pertinent given the current state of affairs, which suggests that we may be undergoing some kind of unprecedented change. The thought that I might become an annoyance to you at some time gives me the creeps. Ideally, I wouldn't make things worse. You do realize that practically all of the bad guys are after you, right? Those who aren't looking for a serious relationship, but are interested in having sexual encounters with you. Of course, this is only one person's opinion. I'm making broad statements here, and not everyone will agree with me. Men who are having intimate conversations behind closed doors at the bar may not be more desirable than the ones who are approaching you to strike up a conversation. I pray that your trip is enjoyable and productive. What would it even accomplish for them to have one? Just how did they manage to get there? What motivates males more than anything else is the thought that we share a same mental space, and that guys may do something for each other whenever they want to, without feeling compelled. Nowadays, kids can get what they want while still being free to pursue their other interests. In recent years, we've come to de-emphasize openness regarding group activities and decision-making. Despite the fact that most couples continue doing it after the initial flutter of romance has faded, it now seems to be something we view more as a chore. Since the feeling of love is so fleeting, they have given up on even trying to put in the work necessary to love someone forever. Does a man seem to be being completely straightforward and honest? As far as I can tell, with everyone in this channel, currently, a new trend is developing. Many males are giving up on the dating scene altogether. They are completely uninterested in striking up conversations with females. It's not shocking that men nowadays have less interest in committed relationships. In light of the world as it is right now and the more common character faults among modern women, males have good reason to feel this way. Ignoring women and embracing culture makes complete sense for guys. I'll be honest. The feminist movement may be directly responsible for the collapse of the dating scene. The fundamental and most critical consideration is the presence of uncertainty. Over the past few decades, the world has undergone dramatic change. Women were expected to keep the home running smoothly and raise the kids, while males were responsible for providing financially and protecting their families physically. Now, there is simply too much uncertainty in the globe. Many modern women feel pressured by society to prove their independence and strength by entering the workforce. Most women don't know what they want in a partner. Therefore, traditional partnerships between women are becoming increasingly rare. Put him in a situation where he can never get out. Despite his own confusion and uncertainty, the man must figure out how to navigate the relationship and make sense of his actions. Wrong this time because of the alterations to the biological framework. Imposing roles on people is another way that society undermines the strength of interpersonal bonds. The external environment puts pressure on humans to live in a manner that is incompatible with their basic biological constitution. To put it another way, they want their cake and they want to eat it too. They want him to be able to support his family and work, preferably from home. They wish to set up a job-sharing arrangement. Despite this, it is generally true that males are the ones who put up the most effort. Most of the time, the only thing that women want to do is work for 4 hours at an artsy-fartsy job where they grumble the whole time and then refuse to cook for their tired partners when they get home. Men, on the other hand, devote their full self into the work that they do all day long, because the main advantage of being in a relationship is having ready access to intimacy. As a result, people's methods of interacting with one another are becoming increasingly disorganized. If it's uninteresting to look at or listen to, then the price isn't worth it. Second only to this is the fact that men's needs and wants are rarely met in modern unions. If a man wants to attract and keep the most valuable woman, he does not want to have to expend the greatest energy doing it. He likes to visit places where he can fulfill the majority of his needs with minimal effort. Men may not put as much emphasis on romantic relationships as women do, but it doesn't make meeting Mr. or Mrs. Right any less crucial. They reject that plan in favor of exploring alternative possibilities, because they are the type of people that refuse to settle for second best. If Best wanted to get the most out of the attention he was receiving from ladies, he would chat to more than one. He should realize that modern women have high expectations of their own worth. Rather than wasting time and energy on pursuing a gorgeous woman who has no interest in him, he ought to stop squandering his time like way. It seems that many women go through life thinking that, simply by virtue of being female, they are destined to become supermodels. This difficulty in maintaining a relationship is indicative of modern men's general disinterest in long-term romantic partnerships. Now, every man's tale boils down to the following. He invites a girl out on a date with the goal of moving things to the next level, and she eventually does, but then she breaks down in tears about how she can't commit to him. He asks out another woman with the hope of pushing things further, and she agrees to go on a date with him. He isn't even making an effort despite the fact that other men are doing this and that for her. It turns out that her days consist solely of scrolling through her phone to view videos of odd things that guys do for ladies. Most of the men she watches on YouTube look to be richer and have more free time than she does, and it appears that she spends her days doing nothing but watching videos of males being weird to women. Women have bought into Hollywood's ideal of marriage, despite the fact that few men are actually capable of making it work. We are very sorry, but we do not have the financial wherewithal to treat you to an exquisite Italian supper and a bottle of wine every single night. It is not always possible to lavish you with flowers and compliments due of the nature of my business. Due to my work and my wife's schedule, we can't go on month-long road trips across the country every weekend. Although she does not resemble Margaret Robbie or any other actress, many females would prefer to have a day spent being pampered by a Brad Pitt look-alike. As far back as I can recall, she has never shared any characteristics with either of them. In my opinion, if a man is willing to sacrifice so much for a woman, she must be truly exceptional for him to take that step if circumstances don't improve. That's it. I'm leaving, and that settles the matter. Many men in stable relationships report feeling restless even though they are being polite all the time. If she were to offer you a kiss instead of unloading her current litany of grievances on you, they might be tempted to go back home. Her disposition would definitely improve. They can't fight much longer. The men have had enough. Men are taking the lead in relationships because they don't want to be bothered with women who don't seem willing to change. Because of the mental, physical, and emotional toll that committed partnerships impose on men in today's culture, more and more men are opting out of them. They put in many of hours at work making connections with others. They risk divorcing even if they make an effort to start a family and provide for their kids. People's feeling of value might be shattered if they married their soulmate only to discover that their spouse has been unfaithful. In addition, there's always the risk that their spouse would file for divorce, disappearing with half of their wealth. It's not unheard of for people to give up their hard-earned possessions. Having gone through a divorce and losing all they own together, the exes are left to lament their misfortune. From the outside looking in, their friends and family see them as the bad guy. Their self-worth declines, and women find love and success. The fact that today's women are perpetually on the prowl for better options is another reason why men are hesitant to commit to long-term partnerships. It has been found that women are the most disloyal of the sexes, cheating on their partners at a rate